doing well. This is ooh, I like the aesthetic behind me. Oh, what a view. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. Hope you had the day off. I'm going to be playing some Rav, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions during this, and we can chat about whatever you wish. Glad you're enjoying. From New Zealand, awesome. Nice to meet you. What's the weather like in New Zealand right now? I have no conception of the weather at this time of year there. It's about 70 degrees here. Pretty comfortable temperature. This is a sea golden gate, by the way, for anyone interested in the scale. The song is called Remembrance. One of the few songs I actually remember the name to. Fascinating that people can exist on completely different season and time wavelengths throughout the year. It's fascinating. Thanks for listening. Hope this brings you some warmth. Massachusetts, for those wondering. The east coast of the US. I'd love to visit Portugal. It's on my list of places to go one day, so. Hi, Christian. Thanks for hanging out. UK is also on my list to visit. For anyone who's missed it, this is the Sea Golden Gate. Hey, John. Places to play in other countries. I would love to chat about that. I have some not too far away gigs this summer, but I've been in the mood to work on a new album this summer rather than focusing on a lot of traveling like last summer. So I think that's going to be the general focus, and then smaller trips or shorter periods of time going to different performances and teaching classes. But I think it's going to be a productive summer, but different than previous ones for me. And John, I need to get back to you about your message. I'm sorry I didn't respond to that yet. Still on the fence about it, but we can chat about that. Again, this is a Sea Golden Gate. For those who are unfamiliar with it, feel free to hit the like button as well, as much as cringy as that is to ask to do that, because it gets it out to more people when you do that. So I would appreciate if you did. I'm going to play the G pygmy now. I've done an interesting thing recently where I've been taking scales that I did not write a song on, or I hadn't written a song originally on, and converting them to that scale. And the advantage to that is that I can take the same phrasing, the same pattern that I'm used to, and almost one-for-one transfer it to the new scale. And this means a whole new song, essentially. So it's pretty fun. So this is Ouroboros, but it's going to be on the G pygmy. Yes, so if you know Ouroboros, you'll recognize the pattern, but because it's a completely different scale, the transition and the melodies are different. So here it is. Hello from France, awesome. For those who've heard Ouroboros, let me know which one you prefer, the G pygmy version or the B curd version. love it on this scale. It's funny because Ouroboros is still one of my favorite songs, but it works so well on this one. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Feel free to ask questions in this too. I want to have a little Q&A after this if I can get some people to ask things. It can be about me or the instruments or whatever. Love it on this scale. I'm completely sold on this as an alternative to Ouroboros on the B chord. So pretty amazing. I love it. All right, let's see what you guys said. Yeah, it does. It does have a harp sort of feel for sure. This scale has always been one that appealed to me, I guess, more than others. I think there's a lot of song potential on the G Pygmy for people who are going to play it melodically. I think if you just approach it in a percussion sort of way, it can be limiting, just because the center note really ties everything together so well that it's hard to create variety if you're only anchored here. But let's see, can you tell us a little about the Rav? So I'll go in order here. CC, tell you a little about the Rav. Yeah, the Rav, just the instrument itself, or how I get into the Rav. The history of the Rav in brief. I got involved with the Rav right when they started to make this particular style of instrument. I was on the Handpan forums back before handpans were ubiquitous. And it wasn't even that long ago that they were ubiquitous, but Andre had posted some prototype images. I think there were 3D models of a Rav, and he had experience with some sort of the vibration of metal because he was some sort of aeronautical engineer. Hopefully I'm getting the story correct. But he was able to plug in the parameters in the program and see what mass of metal would vibrate at what speed and therefore create what note. So he made a prototype, and it was kind of shot down by a lot of people in the community, especially in the early tongue drum, tank drum community. He made one and it worked, and it sounded amazing. I actually have one of the original ones in the house. And then from there, that was in that form for like a year and a half. And then he made the Rav Vast, which was a bigger, more robust, thicker steel version. And then that was history. And now it's all over the world in a very short period of time too. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Also, Ravs are based off of weight and size of the cuts. So, you know, a handpan is based off of compression and tension in the tone field. This is based off of how large this is and how much weight is being pulled down. And you can kind of test this if you were to put a magnet on the end of a ruler and hit it on the edge of a table, like holding onto an end of it, you'd get one note, but if you took the magnet off, it would be a higher note. So the more weight, the lower the note, and all of these cuts vibrate individually. So, fun stuff. John, harmonics. So the G Pygmy does have the loudest harmonics, I would say. The G Oxalista, the kind of one-off Rav scale they made that I managed to get coerced out of them many years ago, is the loudest instrument I own by far. That one is not double the volume, but at least like almost twice as loud as other instruments are. But I think that it has to do with sympathetic resonance. On the Pygmy, there's a lot of notes that are either part of the octave or fifth of the center. So the sustain tends to be longer, and anytime you're activating a side note, and it's this way on stainless steel handpans too, that tends to increase the vibration of the center note. If you see me play on the bright orange colored handpan, the Sonido de Mano handpan, that has the craziest sympathetic resonance of any instrument I've ever played. And that's because it has a lot of that harmonic coupling. Positive. There's also negative, like crosstalk is what they call it, and that's not desirable. But I like when instruments are kind of coupled in that way. Just bought an Arabian Nights, and even as oh, absolutely, you'll totally figure it out. Arabian Nights is a tough scale, but it doesn't really matter the difficulty people say a scale is as long as you connect with it. I have a student that started on an Oleo, which is also another tough scale, but he did fine. We worked together. I've been working with him for like a year and a half, but it was a fine place for him to start. So both, okay. First version you were playing of the song. Glad you enjoyed this version. So Ravs do not go out of tune. I've never had any instrument really come significantly out of tune. The thing I like about the Ravs for traveling or for playing outside, you don't have to worry about sunlight. A handpan, you have to keep it out of the sun or it'll temporarily detune because of the tension I was talking about before. When things heat up, they expand, obviously. So that note is going to drop in pitch because it's releasing the tension built into the tone field. Ravs, again, because they're based off of weight, don't have that problem. So there's always a trade-off which one you want to take. I think handpans are just equally as amazing, but I personally am more comfortable with a travel pan or these if I know I'm going to be kind of lugging it further than out of my backyard. So thanks, buddy. That was really nice of you. Let's see what else. Thank you for being such an inspiration through watching you. That was a B Celtic minor, and I'm so glad you're enjoying the B Celtic. B Celtic is an amazing scale. That was one of the first scales I got. My first one was an A Russ, which it was a 7-note actually, so it was missing one of the notes that the current generations have. So let's see. Yeah, Yeah, the extra resonance, John, is interesting. So recording in the field, this is being done on a GoPro. Obviously, this is lower quality because it's a live stream. GoPros are fantastic for social media. I think that they're probably the best audio when placed above the instrument. And by best, I don't mean that you'd put it on a CD, but best for that setting, because with the compression they use on social media, it doesn't really matter how high quality it is. For YouTube, I use a DSLR camera, but I use a Zoom H6 with an XY mic most of the time. I don't like to bring a ton of different mics with me because I'm happy enough with the position of the XY mic on the Zoom. So most of my YouTube videos are shot and recorded with just the XY mic and sometimes an Octavia as well. So both of those are great choices. You don't. It also has to do with the position. If you're recording from the distance we are with the Zoom, it's going to sound okay. But if you're coming in at more of above and at an angle, and John, I'm sure you can speak to this because you've recorded the Rav plenty as well. I find obviously above is ideal, or in front and kind of at this angle, coming in like this. Loud motorcycle. Sorry. Come on. Nobody wants to hear your motorcycle. When I was in the studio, we had a mic in front, one on each side, and one above for the Rav album, and that worked out amazingly. So it's kind of a mix of that, but I think above or slightly above and pointing towards it is the best position for it. So, all right. Saving to run out this loud motorcycle. This is Internal Sun, accompanied by a B-flat growl of a motorcycle in the background. Yeah, I think above is a good place to shoot. So this is Internal Sun. I'm actually going to be posting a video with this song and another one with Aaron in the next day or so. I just recorded yesterday, so any other questions, keep asking. I'm happy to answer. Thanks, John. son. Missing Aaron, my mandolin player friend. Let's see, what did people say? Yeah, anyone else watching, feel free to ask anything. I'll try to answer you. It's difficult to believe when you said neither Vast or Handpan is better than. Yeah, I in terms of which is better, Handpan or Rav, I play them for different things. Some of my ultimately I'm not interested in drumming. I think it's an aspect of playing, but for me as someone who likes to write music, I find that each of them kind of pushes you in a different direction. So a handpan wants to be approached in one way, and Ravs kind of want to be approached in a different way, even though they're the same format and same scales oftentimes. So you'll find if you write something on your scale, it may not translate well to a handpan in the same scale, which seems silly, but it's kind of how the tonal quality or timbre of the instrument is that determines if it works or not. John, again, you can probably relate to that too with different, I think you have a couple different scales. Sometimes one scale or one either handpan or Rav works for something, other times it doesn't. So I actually can play maybe another song. I can play Ouroboros actually on the Sonido de Mana handpan, and that might be kind of interesting to hear too. So and aside from all of this, I've been really interested in these runs as sort of, or like fills in songs where I'm walking up 4 notes. So I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm leaving out the last beat. To naming songs. Yeah, before I say what I was going to say, I'll answer Fresh Air's connection. I'm horrific at naming songs. Even I have, I've been playing guitar for 23 years, or 23-ish years, maybe longer than that. And even then I had a very hard time naming things, even with lyrics attached to them. For this, I've had a lot of students name, like my music students on the Rav and Handpan name songs. The albums that I've done, the Handpan album was all what plants I kind of associated them with, so like acacia or passiflora. But I guess what emotion it evokes is usually what I think, or how I come up with the names for them. But I struggle sometimes too. I don't struggle at writing music, I struggle at naming it, which is kind of a funny thing to struggle with. It's usually the opposite for people. But I think about thinking about how it makes you feel probably is the best means of getting a name out of a song. So I hear you though. I have the same issue. My students usually remind me of the name of my songs if I'm teaching them, because I remember, I kind of have an audiographic memory, so I remember everything kind of as a clump of music. So if I heard the progression, I'd be like, oh, I know that song immediately. But I don't necessarily associate a name to that song. I do now on the album, because Lux Turo's been out for a year and a half or something, so yeah. Any requests for scales you want to hear, or other instruments? Handpan as well, I'll grab a handpan. I'm going to play one more thing on here, and then I'm going to grab another instrument, so write what you're interested in hearing below, and I'll try to grab it after this for you. This was also on the song, or also on the last album, I should say. Yes, you can. D minor, absolutely. So Bear Love. Hey, can Ralph stop trading? I have nothing to do with the finances of Ralph. I'm just sponsored by them, so I just play their instruments. Not even because I make any money really from it, but I mean, insignificant amount, but just because I like them. I mean, I work with a bunch of different handpan makers. As for shipping prices, I haven't even looked at shipping prices for Rav in like 5 years, so I have no context for how much they're charging. But I will check. Message me after this. I'm curious what your experience was with it. But I know to ship, like DHL has gone up a heck of a lot. To ship an instrument from, it's the last handpan that I got. Maybe from Germany. I got an instrument from Germany or Austria, and I think it was $180 or $190 to ship it. And Rav's, I think back in 2016 or 2017, Ravs were about $100 to ship or $70 to ship. So I'm sure things have changed since then, but no, I don't sell Ravs. I'm not a reseller. I should be. I get asked that all the time, but I just don't have the space here to do it. I think Bear Love was asking, thinking that I had a different relationship with them. I wish I had that much. Yeah, gas prices are absolutely insane right now. I have a little Toyota Yaris, so my car is thankfully pretty gas efficient. So, Mark, I traded the Zephyr, is the short answer to your question. So I don't have it. I traded it for an Echo Sound Sculpture T-Rock handpan, which was a good trade. I do miss the Zephyr, but it's only like 40 minutes away from me, so I still get to play it. Yes, yep, I have a sponsorship link to Rav Vast. You got it. Yep. Let's see. So D minor and B Celtic. I'm gonna grab those. So enjoy the view for a minute and a half, and I'll grab those real quick. Okay, back. I will play the D minor first. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, that's funny. Well, nice to meet you too, Mark. I know so many people by their usernames on here, but not their actual names. What are people's names? If you don't have a username that has your name on it. So the story of this handpan, if you're interested in hearing it, Novapans of all groups contacted me, wanted to give me an instrument many years ago, 2 years ago or so, and said, "Oh, we'd love to send you an instrument in exchange for 2 videos or something like that." I said, "Sure, why not?" I'm not, because I have no solo affiliation with any particular maker. So I said yes, expected it to not be a great instrument, and it's probably the best D minor I've ever played, which is super ironic, but yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes an instrument from a maker you wouldn't expect to be quality is amazing. And I played $6,000 instruments that I thought were no better than $1,000 instruments. So it's very much up to that particular creation. It's so different than, I guess guitars sound different, but there aren't that wild variations in sound. Ravs as well are often very very uniform in their sound, especially now. But handpans, even the same maker could make 3 different scales, and they're all going to sound a little bit different. So, but I got lucky with this one, I suppose. Jonathan, thank you so much. Video. Wanted to say thank you. I'm an unmusical 40-year-old man who's never touched an instrument in his life. Your videos took the mystery away and helped me choose this. Oh, that's amazing. John, if you're interested in working together too, I do lessons, so I would love to work with you. Feel free to reach out. Sorry for the motorcycle in the background. Feel free to reach out to you and ask me questions. I'm a little slow to respond because I get a fair amount of email, but I'm happy to talk handpan and Rav with people. So that's super nice, John. I think, Jonathan, that's super kind of you. You guys are too kind. I appreciate you. Have you? I don't know if you guys have been in live streams on here before with me, but oh goodness. Sorry for the motorcycle again. I have like the coolest people in all of the live streams. I'm always amazed because I'll pop into other people's and there's just a lot of grumpiness, I guess. But I'm amazed that people are so cool on here. So I'm doing the right thing, I guess, or attracting the right type of people. Thank you, Jonathan. Much appreciated. Thank you, John, as well. All right. So listen to this. This was the handpan I thought would not be good. It's a D Celtic, D minor. But fantastic. So this is also one of my favorite songs. Oh yeah, I do them on Zoom. I have like 25 weekly students, and then I have people who pop in and out as well. Rewildyoursoul music at gmail.com. There's a link to my musician website, which is rewildyoursoulmusic.com, and that has all my contact info as well. Facebook and Instagram too, which is also Rewildyoursoul. It's a great place to ask. Yeah, that'd be cool to work together. It's amazing because I get to work with people who are just touching the instrument, and then people who are recording with the instrument. They're different lessons, obviously, but it's good practice for me because I've gotten to understand these instruments in a way that I don't think a lot of people other people have. So okay, D Celtic / D minor. This is a Nova Pan. This was made in China, but the tuner is I think one of the better tuners, and he trained with Siberia Sound Sculptures, Anto. So this is it. Novapan, which you would not suspect was quite as amazing as it is. Alright, let's see. Can you believe it's 8:20 right now? It's absolutely insane. Let's see what people had to say. Yeah, it has a really interesting bloom. So you're hearing the activation of the 7th note. Which is kind of cool. Yeah, handpans are very addicting. Fresh Air Connection, I have played guitar forever, and that was actually, I think my approach to teaching has been anchored through that, because a lot of teaching is drum based, and I'd say 60% of my students come from other courses that are taught by drummers, just because it doesn't connect the pieces for musicians like you and I that have a string instrument background. So that'd be really cool to work together. So this is a D minor for whoever would ask for a D minor scale. Let me play something on the B Celtic for us. And then I think I'm going to call it quits. Actually, if this cuts off, which it may, because it kind of automatically cuts me off at 1 hour on here, I appreciate you guys. So, oh, that's not the right scale. Wrong one. I usually play that song on the B Celtic, not the D Celtic. So. D minor, Celtic, or G pygmy. I mean, it's completely subjective because I have a lot of music on both of them, but I would say pick whichever one you connect with more. Of the two of those, I would pick the G pygmy, but that's just my taste. That doesn't mean it's the right one. Yeah, it's made by hand. It's still made by hand. There's a lot of Chinese instruments that are not mass-produced in the way that some other ones are. This one was actually made and tuned by a person who cared about it. So there are very good Chinese handpans as well, but the ones on Amazon are obviously not going to be the best quality. But honestly, my first handpan was basically a tuned trash can. It was so bad. If you look actually, this would be funny to post again, but if you go way back in my videos, there's a video after I had a handpan for about a year or so on there of me playing that instrument, and it was great to start with, but at the time, you could post a handpan of any quality. Like, you could just be tuning for the first time and you'd sell it immediately on eBay. Immediately. And now there's thousands available, so things have changed. Alright, so this is a B Celtic for you, Fresh Air Connection, whose name is also Mark. What do I want to play on here? Questions, feel free to ask them. Students playing on YouTube sometime soon, but I also want to start doing Handpan or Rav Zoom hangouts, and hopefully next year I'll have the ability to host retreats here, which would be fantastic. Then you could come and stay and have a weekend of for hanging out. Any last minute questions, feel free to ask. I sound congested again, so hopefully I'm not getting sick. Let's see what people have said. Thank you. Absolutely. Oh, sorry, I didn't answer that before about Gouda drum. I like all tone drums, so I'll preface it at that. I think that Zen percussion instruments have a lot of finger noise, so a lot of contact noise. When you hit the instrument, you can hear your finger striking it. I don't like that sound as much, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I just don't love the sound of them. But I think they're, if you like that sound, then they're great instruments. I also think that Gubarev Dmitri, which was the original Gouda drum, he makes really amazing instruments as well, which have a different timbre and tonal quality. But Zen percussion has some very interesting creations. So, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you all soon. And be in touch. Rewildyoursoulmusic@gmail.com. See you soon.